This is Library Nerds with Words, the podcast that gives you the word on all the cool, nerdy happenings at Peter White Public Library and the library universe beyond. From books and concerts to search engines and story times, the library nerds are in and ready to show you that being a nerd can be cool. Get ready, get set, get nerdy. Welcome back to Library Nerds with Words, the podcast that gives you the word on all the cool things happening at Peter White Public Library and the library universe beyond, straight from the mouths of the people who know it best, library nerds. I'm Marty Achatz, Adult Programming Coordinator for Peter White Public Library, and joining me in the Nerd Mystery Machine today is Communications Coordinator for PWPL, Andrea Marsh. Welcome back to the podcast, Andrea.
Thanks for having me, Marty.
And I always enjoy getting nerdy with you, Andrea. It has been a very big start to the fall here at PWPL. All of our normal fall programming has restarted, plus we've had some great concerts and a new book club launch. You might say that PWPL is putting its best foot forward this autumn. Yes, those are terrible clues as to what we're going to be talking about a little later. But before we monkey around with anything else, another terrible hint, there you go, we have to play another round of Word on the Nerd. You know how this goes, Andrea. I'm going to ask you 3 library nerd questions about yourself, and you have to answer them for the listeners. So, Andrea, are you ready to play
Word on the Nerd?
All right, Andrea, this is going to be a little game of Would You Rather. I'm going to ask you 3 Would You Rather questions, and you have to truthfully answer them. And today, all of your questions have to do with legendary monsters. Okay, so here's your first question. Would you rather go diving in Loch Ness looking for Nessie, or would you rather go hiking in the Pacific Northwest looking for Bigfoot?
Oh, shoot. Both sounds really scary. Well, diving for Ness.
Yes.
Loch Ness is a dead ecosystem, correct?
It's pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of clay, and it's a very murky lake from what I understand. But it's a beautiful place. It's in Scotland.
It is.
Yeah.
But under the surface.
Way under the surface.
Way under the surface.
Where possibly a thought to be extinct dinosaur lives and eats and breathes and breeds.
Yeah. Okay, and then the Pacific Northwest, that's kind of spooky.
And you have to go deep into the woods in order to do this.
I guess if I'm going to approach this question as to how I would like to die. And how quick of a process that's going to be.
Yes.
Because I'm a firm believer, our mystical creatures, they're out there. So would I rather be like ripped to shreds and like running for my life in the woods late at night, maybe getting poison ivy, not really concerned at this point in time. Or would I rather just like drowned rather quickly?
Which one?
I think I would drown.
Oh, so you're choosing...
Yeah, I would do Loch Ness.
I have a terrible fear of drowning, so I would probably rather have Bigfoot rip up my arms and beat me to death than being grabbed by Nessie and buried in mud at the bottom of a lake.
Well, that's very on brand for you.
Okay, so we're going to disagree on that one.
Which is fine.
Which is fine. Okay. Well, as you know, the questions might get a little harder from here on out. So here's your second question. Would you rather be abducted by aliens? Or would you rather be haunted by the ghost of Peter White?
Absolutely no haunting whatsoever. Beam me up, Scotty. Show me your world. Ready.
What if they impregnate you or something like that?
It's happened before. Not with aliens. But... Okay, so, Marty, you may know this about me. I'm a little of a weirdo. So, like, maybe I'm not from this world. Maybe
you might have alien DNA already.
Maybe my people are finally coming to be like, all right, that social experiment's over. We collected enough data. Let's get her back. Mm-hmm. And then I'm reunited with my long-lost family
Lost
members.
Family from Alpha Centauri or something like that.
Absolutely.
But no haunting.
Don't even think about it. I'm done with hauntings in my life.
Yeah, ghosts make me very nervous. Aliens less so. So I would probably do abducted with aliens,
Yeah.
even if I end up impregnated by an
Yeah.
alien. I don't care.
It would be a bummer if they turned out to be like Tim Burton's Mars Attacks
It really
aliens.
would be. Yeah.
Well, I
but
guess,
then all
like-
you got to do is yodel to kill them. So.
I forgot that was a thing. I guess I have to watch that movie again.
You have to watch it and just practice your yodeling, and then you're
Perfect.
safe.
I
So.
love that. Self-defense.
All right, so here's your last question. Would you rather read a book of poems about Bigfoot, or would you rather read a book of poems about Marvel superheroes?
Oh, Bigfoot.
There you go.
Is that a trick question?
That was not a trick question. I don't know why I would throw that in there. Anyway.
Yeah, Marvel superheroes, they just all look the same.
They're nice looking.
Yeah, but...
I'm going to agree with you on this one. I don't know why, but I am going to agree with you. Oh, gosh. These are such terrible, terrible hints and clues. But, all right. Well, we have come to the end of this monstrous edition of Word on the Nerd, this time with Andrea Marsh, Communications Coordinator for Peter White Public Library. And now the time has come, Andrea, to find out what huge topic is on your mind. And that's another very bad clue, which I'm going to dispense with now. So why don't you share with us the word? So, Andrea, what is on your mind today?
Well, this has been building for months now. Maybe possibly years? Decades?
Decades.
Maybe?
Like 2 decades, maybe.
Decades,
This is
maybe.
there's an event 2 decades in the making.
2 decades in the making. So, I don't know if you are a diehard listener, but you will know that I've been in this position for roughly 2 years now. And when I first arrived into this office, knock, knock, knock. Hi, my name is Andrea. Hi, I'm Marty. There was Bigfoot memorabilia everywhere. We got big feet. We got felt statues. We got posters. We got books. We got a name tag. And Marty didn't know this at this point in time. I definitely knew because I am me and I talk to myself a lot. But my lovely son, Aram, he is obsessed with Bigfoot.
Oh.
So when I walked into this office, I was like, oh, this is going to work out. and here we are 2 years later, after watching you go through this editing process of a book of poems that are very close to your heart. Mm-hmm. So I've only known you for a short period of time.
Yeah.
You have been working on Bigfoot isms, Bigfoot
poems.
Like, I feel like it's always been this thing that you exercise creatively. Mm-hmm. Whatever that word is. It's Friday. Leave me alone. So now you have finished editing your book of Bigfoot poems.
Yes.
Bigfoot and other bestiality, correct?
Not bestiality.
No, that's way different. That is not public library safe.
Bigfoot, bestiary, and other wonders.
You heard it here first. I am without my notes today, so I apologize for being unprepared. And so the perspective that I can give, I haven't read any of these poems yet, of just how much heart, soul, extraterrestrial powers that you have like put into this book of poems has been amazing to watch.
Oh, thank you.
And coming into this podcast, like, I don't want to read the script. I want to be completely surprised. Throw it at me. So, like, I haven't read any of your poems.
No.
You probably read a few to me, but I don't know what's going to be included in the book and what's not, because if you were here when Marty was going through this process, his whole entire desk was covered with poems. The floor was covered with poems. The floor was the rejects. The table was the ones that were going to be included in this book. So it was very interesting to see the creative process of how a manuscript becomes a book.
Yeah.
And thank you for letting me just kind of watch
people
that
don't
process.
realize the effort that goes into putting together a manuscript, especially a manuscript of poems, which are very diverse usually. Usually centered around a central theme, but not necessarily. But yeah, this book I've been working on off and on for a good 20 years of my life. It's been with me since my daughter was about 3 or 2 years old, which means that she is now 24. She's going to be 24 this year.
Wow.
So it's almost as old as my daughter is.
Tale as old as time. So another really fun thing to watch was how you nitpicked over very specific words, and you went back and forth and back and forth. I'm like, Marty, choose a word. Like, just make a choice.
It's not that easy.
Yeah, obviously. I saw it. But the other cool thing was how quickly this really kind of wrapped up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we had a visiting author, a visiting poet come in for
the Great Lakes Poetry Festival. Raymond Luzak.
Yep. Next thing you know it, you are knee-deep in getting this manuscript wrapped up. And, tell us how that helped you, how it hindered you. Can you, speak about the quick pace that this all occurred?
You know the song, Andrea. This is the song that never ends. That's what it felt like. It felt like the book that never ends, because I never saw an end in sight. And then I met with Raymond, who works with Modern History Press. Modern History Press he edits books and anthologies for them. He put together the Uper Poetry Anthology, which was a beautiful, beautiful anthology. And the Uper Poetry Anthology sold so well that the publisher just said, I'd like to do a Uper Poetry series where we have poets from the UP publishing full collections. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. Didn't give it a second thought, because I was like, this book is nowhere near being done. And Raymond sent me an email saying, hey, are you going to send me your Bigfoot book? And I was like, no, I wasn't planning on it. I've got only half the poems are edited. And he was like, how long will it take you to edit the rest of the book? And I thought, oh, he's going to hate this. And I was like, so I gave myself it's going to take me at least 2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks?
Yeah.
Wow, I feel like that's a pretty short timeline. I thought you were going to throw out 6 months.
No. I said 2.5 weeks. And he said, good, send me what you got and then work on the rest. And I put my head in the noose and felt it tightening. And I thought, you know what? Maybe I was being nudged by the powers of the universe, telling me that it was time to drag Bigfoot out into the open and release him into the world. So I worked for 2.5 weeks, sent him my edited manuscript. He accepted it, and we've been, over the summer, going back and forth on different edits, artwork, different things that I really, really wanted to see in the book, which have surprised me that the publisher and the editor have all just agreed to everything that I asked. And so it's going to be released. I think that the release date of the book is October 1st.
Wow.
And we are going to do a big book release event in the beginning of November, November 7th, in the community room, 6:30 p.m., There's going to be, I think I talked Amanda, the head of teen services, into making me a Bigfoot charcuterie board.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, Bigfoot charcuterie board. The book is going to come out in electronic form, Kindle form. It'll be in hardcover, paperback, and Audible. So,
are you going to be selling books at this event?
I am.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to be selling books at this event. I'm also going to have them in the various bookstores around town as well. I'll have them definitely at Snowbound. And then I'm working on setting up dates for a book tour of the UP November and through the month of November and into December. So,
wow, what a sprint.
So, yeah, coming soon to a library/venue near you, but also, first and foremost, right here at PWPL. Because this is, I wanted it to be here, the big release to be right here. Because this, PWPL is my family. Andrea's my family. Everybody that works here is my family, and I really wanted it to be here. So, it's going to be very special. I'm excited. For those of you that are thinking, oh, Bigfoot poetry, it's not, it sounds like a ridiculous book, but it's not. The book poems in them are very serious poems. I say it this way, Bigfoot is the hook that gets you into the poetry, but the poetry itself speaks for itself.
Thank you for already answering the question that I have yet to ask, but from the poems that I think are in there, I've only heard a few. This is not really about Bigfoot itself, but more or less what Bigfoot means to you and how Bigfoot is in your life. And that doesn't have to be the stereotypical furry ape man with huge feet that walks in many, many forests across the U.S. and beyond. But it's just how he carries you through your journey.
It carries you through the journey, and I use Bigfoot as a metaphor. People have asked me, do I believe in Bigfoot? And I will say, my answer is always, I believe in the big idea of Bigfoot.
The big idea.
The big idea of Bigfoot. Because I find that life without mystery is kind of boring.
Yes,
and so,
it is.
Yeah, so having mystery is very, very important. And we all have Bigfoots in our lives. Those kinds of big, hairy things that we wrestle with, whether it's
Can you
family.
not talk about my mother? I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
Wow, Mom. I did not prompt her on that at all. Not me. Not me.
Keep going.
Wow. But all those big, hairy issues that we deal with, whether it's loss, death, love, children getting their hearts broken by people, those kinds of things. So Bigfoot sort of represents that. And the funny thing is, as I've written these poems over the years, I've learned that Bigfoot is a lot smarter than me emotionally, that he's much more direct in dealing with stuff and is willing to wade into the swamp of nastiness in order to take care of things and take care of business. So, yeah, Bigfoot has become sort of something much bigger than I anticipated in my life. That being said, I'm very happy that this book is coming out because, I'm a poet, and even though I love writing Bigfoot poems, there's other things that I want to concentrate on for a new book, which I'm still working on. But the new book should be coming out right around the end of the year, I would say.
Wow, here we are rolling.
Yeah, we're going to be rolling.
Is that why the office has been so hot lately? Because there's so many fires under your
There's
focus?
so much fire. Yes, exactly. You've had a lot of fires burning.
Oh, yeah.
And I've had a lot of fires. So the nerd penthouse has been like a steam bath.
Yeah.
So,
our skin is looking great if you're thinking about that.
But yeah, I'm really excited. Andrea's been very supportive through this whole process because I know that it's probably not been easy sharing an office with Bigfoot this past summer.
He's a presence.
He's a presence. But hopefully, I think that I'm hoping that people are going to embrace the book and embrace the idea. Really, I want to see as many people at the book launch as possible, November 7th. I'm just really excited to share this, and there's going to be music during the event as well because I have released some spoken word albums with Ronnie Ferguson and his band Streaking in Tongues. So Ronnie's going to be there. I'm hoping that Patrick Booth is going to be able to be there to play some saxophone as well. And I think we're just going to have a really great time. And then if you're not able to make that night, it's going to be live streamed. But I'm also going to be trying to hit other libraries throughout the UP, including Ishpeming, Negaunee, Munising, going all from one end of the UP to the other. So Bigfoot will be all over the UP.
How exciting for you. And you have so much PTO time to burn, too.
I have so much PTO time to burn. She's not being facetious there. That is true. I have lots of PTO time to use up. So
how exciting for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So happy for you. And I'm excited for this event because we really get to celebrate you as a family member, as you said before, as a local poet and author, 2-time UP Poet Laureate, Writer of the Year. The list goes on, and this is a nice evening for us to give back to you everything that you have given to us.
I really appreciate it. And I love you, Andrea, and I love everybody that works here. And I love everybody that listens to the podcast, too. It's going to be, I think, a really great night. And if you're not into Bigfoot, don't let that put you off because we're going to have really good food. Amanda is a good cook.
Going back, not all the poems are about Bigfoot.
No, it's about food, too. So, I think it's going to be great. And Andrea and I just got back from filming a segment of All Booked Up, and I talked to T and Elizabeth, and they're going to have me back on the show. They're going to do, I think what they said was a whole Bigfoot-themed show.
That is going to be a blast. Can you even give us a teaser for maybe something that's happening in the summer?
Next summer, here's another thing that's going to be happening. We are going to have a cryptozoology conference right here at the library. I believe that's going to be happening in June.
Oh, snap.
And we're going to have movies. We're going to have, like, presenters. And, I don't know who the presenters are going to be yet. There's one in particular that I really want to get. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to name names, although most people that are here don't know Bigfoot that much. But he's one of the literally foremost Bigfoot researchers in the United States.
So the ball is rolling.
Yes, the ball is rolling.
Or, like, this is, like, the year of Bigfoot.
The year of Bigfoot. And then... and the year of poetry, too.
Yeah.
The year of poetry. So,
as always in this office.
And hopefully we'll screen, because there was a documentary made about my process of writing this book, too. So we'll screen Bigfoot and Marty one more time. And so it's going to be great. Lots of really great stuff coming up. So if you're thinking that this is just a self-serving podcast to promote my book, it's not. It's also a podcast to promote great stuff that's going to be happening here at the library this fall and also next year as well.
And it's okay to promote yourself.
It is.
That is okay.
I generally don't do that kind of thing. Well, I just don't. So
it's a special occasion today.
I'm very excited. All right. Well, that is the word from Andrea Marsh, Communications Coordinator here at PWPL, about the upcoming book release of A Bigfoot, Bestiary, and Other Wonders by yours truly. But I can't let you leave the BNRO just yet. That's the Bigfoot Nerd Research Organization. I'm sorry. But first we have to find out what you've been reading that's been distracting you recently. It's a little segment on the podcast we call Off the Shelf. All right, Andrea, what would you like to recommend to us today?
Marty, I really put myself into a pickle.
Uh-oh.
I'm like, I did the bad thing where I start 3 books at once.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Oh, good. I'm glad that we work at the same place.
Yes.
Okay, so book number 1 that has been living rent-free, and it was the one I finished the first.
Okay.
It's called One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I believe I'm saying her last name correctly. If I'm not, sorry, Rach. So this is gothic fantasy romance. It was recommended by Shannon from TV6.
Okay.
When she was filling it in for
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
I remember her talking about that.
She mentioned it 2 months in a row. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. And I'm learning that when you read a book that somebody recommends to you, it is kind of a love language. I mean, Shannon, I'm not in love with you yet, but, like, we are friends. This is a friendship. So this is me extending, like, yes, I want to be your friend. And, wow, talk about magic. The way that the magic system is organized is you are dealt with these cards that have magical properties. And they don't work all the time. You have to activate them. And I do like how, like, magic is tangible for everyone. You're not just, like, born with this magic. There is a plot twist and there's a watch out. And the romance comes later. It is British sexy.
Oh, okay, British sexy, not American sexy.
Not American
so
sexy.
Down and dirty.
I mean, like, it's like it's tilting towards American sexy, but it's still British
sexy. Maybe
it's
colonial sexy.
Oh my gosh, we are going to have a whole scale of sexy. Okay, so we have colonial sexy, and there is representation, which is great. Okay, and then there is a major plot twist at the end. Cue in second book of the series. It's right over there on my desk. Can't wait to dive into it. But I'm going to choose my word wisely. It ends with your protagonist she's not gonna make it into the next book.
Ooh.
But in a way she is still making that jump, and so I really like how the author is passing this baton, because it was like in Harry Potter, like everything happens to Harry Potter, and you're like, come on, buddy, like you can't have that much tragedy in your life. However, I did find out through you it is a Greek tragedy. Everything horrible happens to one character.
Yes, exactly.
But this is not a Greek tragedy. This is a gothic fantasy.
And colonial sexy fantasy.
Colonial sexy gothic romance fantasy. So I'm really excited at how the ending has ended, and it's queuing in.
How many books are there in this series?
I don't know, and I don't really want to look.
Yeah, okay, because you're going to keep on going with it. Okay.
Because I said it this morning, sometimes, like, more times than not, they just have to stop with the first book. So I'm hoping that this is not the situation. Okay.
Because you're hoping that you're not going to be disappointed in the second book.
Because the ending of the first one, I was not expecting, blew my mind. I was like, wow, who knew? Who knew you can end a series with a meat puppet? I don't know. I know.
Yeah, I'm not going there.
Yeah, you can't go there.
Okay.
So that was book number 1. Book
Okay.
number 2, The Nightingale by Kristin Hannah.
Oh,
I
yes.
love the women so much that The Nightingale was New York Times bestseller. So I was like, okay, I'll start there. And another historical fiction focusing on women in war. This takes place in France, World War II.
Mm-hmm.
You have a very patriotic young protagonist and her sister that is trying to keep her family away from the Nazis and protect them at the same time, making sure that her sister has just the smarts to take care of herself. And maybe there's like a mild identity crisis of like, should I be more patriotic and protect my French identity, or do I just try to survive for my young child? So I'm doing that audiobook. Wonderful. And then the third book is Circe by Madeline Miller, another book recommendation by Melissa Allen downstairs. And so that's another love language of like, thanks, Melissa. And man, I feel so bad for Circe.
Yeah, she gets a bad rap in the Odyssey, and
nothing really is
that
going
book
her way.
sort of makes you understand her a little bit
Yeah.
better, because she really does. She's sort of a villain in the actual Homer's actual Odyssey,
And she's not. She has feelings.
well, according to Madeline Miller, she's not.
Well, of course, because women writing about women, right? And so so I have a lot of strong female protagonists in my radar.
And
right
of course,
now.
Kristin Hannah is the author of The Women, which
Yep.
we read for All Booked Up, and both of us fell in love with that book. So good.
I'm just obsessed with her ability to like do these like hardcore research onto like the behind the scenes narrative about these character developments and what they went through. Early on in the book, she talks about the refugees from Paris after it became Nazi occupied. And she talked about the smell, the conditions, clothing, dehydration, food starving, the sounds, and like it was overwhelming on like a sensory aspect, because she described so many senses so well that it was hard to escape from that setting. And man, she did that in The Women too.
She really did, yeah. When you get into Vietnam, especially, and she's talking about that particular setting, it's it just sort of gets under your skin, and you almost feel like you can smell, taste, feel, everything that she's writing about.
So the Nightingale is a tough one for me to start over, because we all know the World War II narrative, and so I just got to the point where she wrote down the list of individuals that are living in the town, the Jews, the communists, the Freemasons, the homosexuals. And, like, we all know what's going to happen next. And it's hard for me to take that leap into tragedy and sadness, because that's the narrative that I've always heard of World War II is that the concentration camp. So here we go.
Okay, well.
Here we go.
You haven't finished The Nightingale. I can hardly wait to see whether I'm going to ask you when you're done with it, whether it's as good as The Women or.
Yep. And then there's another book, Four Winds, that a new friend recommended to me of Kristin Hannah.
Okay.
Yeah. So here we go.
All right. Well, there you have it. Those are Andrea's recommendations of books that you should pick up off the shelf. And we have come to the end of this week's Bigfoot poetry episode of Library Nerds with Words. I want to thank Andrea Marsh, Communications Coordinator here at Peter White Public Library, for stopping by Nerdwood Forest today. Come back next week when I will be sitting down with Lynette Succo, Assistant Head of Adult Services at PWPL, to talk about books on voting, which I think is very timely and interesting. So until that time, everyone, stay nerdy. Thank you for listening to Library Nerds with Words, Peter White Public Library's weekly podcast, giving you the word on what's cool at the library. The theme for the podcast is Happy Clappy by John Bartman, used courtesy of Pixabay. This episode was written and produced by Martin Acketts and sponsored by Peter White Public Library. Until next week, pick up a good book, listen to some good music, watch a good movie, attend a great event, and remember, library nerds are the coolest people around.